Hello, this is Watch All About with another watch review, and in this review we're looking at an offering from Avi-8. Obviously Avi-8 are aviation watches, and this is the Hawker Harrier II 4051. So let's start the unboxing process. So this is one of their pretty standard boxes, which is still pretty nice, with a canvas exterior, nice little leather badge at the top, sealed with a button. Just open it up and here we have the watch itself. So we have a little tag with the details of the watch itself, nice little polishing cloth as well, and another canvas pillow there that the watch sits on. So there we go, unboxing process complete. So this is the watch in question, the Hawker Harrier II 4051. It comes in a variety of different colour options. This is the -01, so this is the very first option, if you will. So let's discuss some of the specs. So first of all, the price. So I've got about a 7¼ inch wrist for reference. So the price is RRP of £250. Now usually with Avi-8 you can find them a little bit cheaper. I personally actually have a code for you to use as well. If you use WIAB as a discount code, that'll get you 20% off. So that brings it down to £200. Converted to dollars, that's around about $255. So as you can see, it's a chronograph, and it's a quartz powered chronograph as well, so not mechanical here. And let's discuss some of the specs. So size wise, it is, on the fairly large side of things. It is an aviation watch at the end of the day. They do tend to be a little bit larger. 44mm diameter, a height of 14mm, which is quite thick and chunky actually, and a lug-to-lug length of 52mm. On top of that, it's got a fairly weighty weight, considering it's on a strap and it's a quartz, of 95 grams. So it really does feel like a pretty good chunky watch when you've got it on. Lug width is 22mm, so that's a very suitable size for the strap in comparison with the size of the case. Water resistance is only 50 meters or 5 atmospheres, so you certainly don't want to go swimming with it. It won't give you much protection at all in that regard, but it should hold up against light splashes, etc. Warranty is 2 years international warranty, so you should be covered for a little bit of time there. It has only got a mineral crystal, which is a bit disappointing considering, the RRP is £250. You'd expect it to be a little bit more expensive. So, from a design point of view and a size point of view, I think it does look fairly impressive. The style itself doesn't particularly call out to me. However, I do know that this kind of style, it's almost imitating the cockpit of an airplane, isn't it? You can tell just from the various little nuances of the dial itself. And in fact, it is very well layered, and it does look pretty good to the eyes. The only real thing that's letting it down is the depth of the logo, but we can go into that in further detail now. Size-wise, it's fairly chunky, so you probably wouldn't want to wear it on in a smart outfit. So talking about the dial then, as you can see, it is very, very multi-layered, lots of stuff going on, but it's also, considering the intricacies, it's pretty well put together. Even up close, all the applied elements are all really nice and thick, good quality. You can see the depths of these hour markers here. Let's see the depth of the 9. Obviously, we'll get the macro lens on in a bit. Really, the only thing that's letting it down is the depth of the logo. It annoys me when I see companies do that. These hour markers are all really nice and thick, really good quality, and yet the logo is so thin. It looks a little bit cheap and tacky in comparison. It just lets it down a little bit, I think. So that's a real shame. Obviously, it's a chronograph. You can tell by all of our subdials, and it's actually got a 1/10 of a second indicator. So if I start the chronograph, you can see where it spins. We have our chronograph seconds here, and a chronograph hour indicator at 9. And if I stop it, it shows you what tenths of a second is being displayed. I couldn't actually find or locate what movement it is. I looked through all of the options in Miyota. I would have thought it was a Miyota movement. Avi-8 don't specify it. I can't find the exact movement which lines up with these subdials, so I can't tell you what movement it is, unfortunately. However, it's a quartz, so it's most likely going to be pretty solid and pretty dependable. So yeah, the dial, very intricate, pretty impressive. The only real disappointment there is the logo. Moving on to the case itself then, as I mentioned before, we have a mineral crystal, which is a shame. However, it is very nice and clear. You can see when we're just looking at it straight on, good clarity there. It is ever so slightly domed as well, so you can see we have a little bit of distortion at tight angles, but I think I quite like that. It gives it a little bit of personality at tight angles. On the case itself, we have almost like a PVD sandwich. So we have a stainless steel bezel, stainless steel case back, and then a PVD coated case. Interestingly, the case is polished. Now, personally, I think that's a strange option. I would have thought that it would at least be brushed, to have a little bit more longevity. It will stand up better to scratches, etc. But there we go. The bezel itself is fully brushed, which is fair enough, because that's most likely to be the thing that gets knocked, if anything. And then we have polished steel pushers as well, and a PVD crown with the RAF roundel very deeply and impressively embossed on the end there. So moving on to the case back, a nice turbine feel to it, which I have seen a number of times on the various Avi-8 watches. Nice and deep stamped there, pretty impressive quality, to be fair. And again, a bit. I would have thought that they would have tried to keep polished accents off this watch. I think it doesn't quite go with the style. We have this polished centre bit and a polished ridge around the outside as well. Moving on to the strap then. The strap is really lovely. It is a nice, good quality leather, very, very supple. Straight out of the box, it's really soft and gentle on the wrist, really easy to wear as well. And I do like this this interesting bit of stitching. And also, not only do you have this stitching pattern, but you also have a couple of sort of embossed channels either side, which does keep things very interesting. And we have a couple of channels embossed on the keeper loops as well. And then moving on to the buckle, the standard Avi-8 brushed buckle with the logo pretty deeply engraved on there. Okay, so let's get the macro lens on and we'll check it out in closer detail. Starting off with the dial then, be able to see all the little nuances. So here's our tenth of a second indicator. If I get this going, you can see it spinning around. And I'll just reset it, there we go. So nice bit of detail on that. Have this base layer which has this texture on it, and then we have a couple of layers applied on top. Here's one of our hour indicators. You can see how nice and deep they are. One of our subdials with our cheeky little painted paint tipped hand. Moving down to the bottom side, you can see this is the second indicator of the chronograph. I've started it moving. It is nice how multi-layered that is, and we have a very subtle concentric circular pattern around the outer edge as well. Really quite impressive how much detail has gone into it. So many different layers. There's our date indicator there as well. These screws I'm pretty sure are fake. However, they're not rubbish looking fake. They actually look like a screw head, which is a good thing. And then we have our logo. As you can see there, comparison to the hour markers and even to the screw heads, it's just very, very flat. And really, it's the only thing that lets it down in my eyes. Okay, so that's the dial. Let's move on to the case itself. So here's the bezel. As you can see, we have a brushed angle, brushed top, but also a very thin, if I can get it in focus, polished outer edge. And here's the side of our case as well. We have a brushed top of the lug. There we go. Flipping it over to the other side, here's one of our crowns. Sort of like a pinion kind of feel to it. Nice design on that. And then our crown with the roundel very deeply embossed on the end of there. So flipping it over, let's check out the case back. Here's some of our turbine ridges Very nicely machined, as you can see. And in the center we have our Avi-8 engraved in the center. And surrounding that we have our details deeply engraved with a concentric circular pattern on it, which is pretty nice to see. Moving on to the strap then. Here's our very nice soft top grain, good quality leather. Got our black stitching which matches the PVD case nicely, and we have one of these very subtle channels down the outside, which is even quite difficult to see, like so. And then moving on to the buckle, there's the logo deeply engraved on the buckle, and it's brushed. Okay, so I mean, it looks really nice. The watch is impressively put together. Let's talk about the negatives. Definitely the applied logo is a negative. Personally, I don't quite like, well, I don't like at all the polished case. I think it would have been a much better fit if the case itself was brushed as well. From a visual point of view, I think the shininess of it makes it look a little bit cheaper than what it actually is. Because at the end of the day, the dial is really intricate, really nicely put together, and it's very practical, very legible, good to use as well. And it does look impressive on the wrist because of the size of it. I really like the strap as well. Strap is a lovely quality. Would I buy it? I probably wouldn't buy it because it just doesn't call out to me, unfortunately. However, if you can find it at a really good price, then I certainly think it is a very viable option. You know, it's got a nice aviation feel to it, but it's very unique in design. Good build quality as well. You know, it's not your traditional or standard aviation watch, is it, as you can see. So good build quality, but not quite for me. Don't forget, if you do want to buy it from the site, from the Avi-8 site, you can use my code WIAB, that's WIAB. That will give you 20% off any watch on the Avi-8 website. This is the Avi-8 Hawker Harrier II 4051, and that's what it's all about. So don't forget to subscribe and like and comment your thoughts, please. Thank you very much for watching, guys. See you soon.